All right, good afternoon. Welcome to a special press conference by the Wichita Police Department on the launch of Operation Save-A-Casing. Appreciate all of our partners, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, Wichita State University Criminal Justice Department, Wichita State Shocker Studios, United States Attorney's Office, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Sedgwick County District Attorney's Office, the Drug Enforcement Agency, Garden City Police Department, and the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Department. Many of our partners are here to speak with you today as well about this important operation and this important project that we are launching today as a Wichita Police Department. We have a video that has been developed by Wichita State Shocker Studios. Specifically, James Marlowe has been instrumental in working and partnering with us to help develop this video.
Project Save-A-Casing is a partnership with law enforcement agencies across the local, state, and federal levels and communities to proactively address firearm-related crimes. The Wichita Police Department is inviting citizens to be a part of this program and to help address firearm-related crimes. To help, citizens will store 2 bullet casings and registration information from each of their firearms. The casings and information should be stored in a safe place separate from the firearms, and if a gun theft occurs, the owner would then give the 2 firearm casings and registration information to a police officer. These casings and information would then be submitted into the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, which is NIBINS. NIBINS is a national database containing digital imaging of spent bullets and cartridge casings found at a crime scene or test fired from confiscated firearms. It was established in 1999 by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the ATF. This is a searchable database for possible shell casing matches. If a match occurs, the NIBINS lab then sends this information to the Wichita Police Department investigations. This program has been made possible through a grant titled Supporting Innovation, the field-initiated programs to improve officer and public safety. The grant total is $493,594 and was awarded to the WPD by the United States Department of Justice. The Wichita Police Department would like to thank our partners that have made this project possible, which is the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Wichita State University's Criminal Justice Department, Wichita State Shocker Studio, the United States Attorney's Office, and the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Sedgwick County District Attorney's Office, the Drug Enforcement Agency, Garden City Police Department, and the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Department. Firearm owners are encouraged to visit our website, which was posted, where they will find further information.
First of all, we'd like to thank the Wichita Police Department, all the partner agencies, for inviting Wichita State University's School of Criminal Justice to provide the research component of the Project Safe Neighborhood Grant. The role of the research team is to be objectively evaluating and assessing the program, collecting data, conducting pre- and post surveys, and providing training and technical assistance. Additionally, the recommendations on program strategies and potential modifications, if needed, will be included following the interpretation of the results of the analysis. We anticipate that this PSN initiative, which includes saveacasing, will be pivotal in targeting gun crime and violence in the city of Wichita and in Garden City. Lastly, we would like to give a special thanks to Shocker Studios for their help in developing a video that's accentuating the components of this initiative. Our research team looks very much forward to working with all the partners and assisting in any way possible. Thank you.
The United States Attorney's Office is very pleased about this ingenious and innovative approach that the Wichita Police Department is taking to be able to track firearms that are being used in crimes. This is an outgrowth in some ways of the Project Safe Neighborhoods initiative of the Department of Justice, which is seeking to get the most violent criminals off the street. This will help us do that even more. U.S. Attorney's Office is proud to be a partner with WPD and other entities. There are weekly meetings between federal agents, federal prosecutors, state prosecutors, trying to get at and address the violence in Wichita. And with this program, I would urge the gun owners, keeping your registration, keeping some shell casings, not only can help us, it can help you. Because what happens in a federal prosecution, if we seize firearms and we cannot tell who they belong to, they will be destroyed after they are forfeited. If we know they belong to an innocent owner and they were stolen, those guns may actually come back to you eventually. So we're pleased to be a part of this, as we are pleased, generally speaking, to work with the Wichita Police Department and our other local and federal partners, again, to try to address and put a dent in the violent crime situation in Wichita. Thank you.
I'll echo the statements made by Mr. McAllister, the U.S. Attorney. The Office of the District Attorney is very pleased with this new and innovative program that the Police Department's taken the lead on. Just to give you some notion of how this will work itself out in court, if we know that a gun was stolen from an individual, we can now trace that back by way of casings. You've all seen ballistics experts testify in court. They can tell that this gun fired this casing, and when we can do that, it's establishing the foundation necessary to establish that this is the gun that was used, and we might be able to help out our further prosecution for burglaries and larcenies, things like that, where people steal guns. That's one last thing I'd point out here. Not only do we want to encourage citizens to keep a shell casing, or a couple of them in fact, because it'll help in these prosecutions, but I'd also take this opportunity to reiterate the need to take safety precautions in the storing of your firearms in the first place. As you saw up there, very well illustrated by the little video, how many guns enter the black market area, or being utilized by people for criminal purposes, come from larcenies, from stolen guns. They're not going to retail sales and buying them off the shelf. They're going to cars and sheds and homes and burglarizing them. So I'd be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to also reiterate the need for citizens to please make every effort to secure your firearms, so that we don't need to find your shell casings to compare it because your gun's been stolen. But in the unfortunate event if that were to happen, this will really help us and the feds further our prosecution efforts in this regard, and hopefully reduce some of the gun violence we're seeing in the streets of Wichita and across the nation, actually. So.
All right, as I said, I have a statement here from Garden City Police Department. They couldn't make it here today, but provided a statement. I'll read that now, then we'll open it up to questions for any of our partners here that are with us today. The Garden City Police Department is committed to continued collaboration with other law enforcement agencies and programs to reduce violence with firearms and tracking stolen firearms. Project Safe Neighborhood grants have provided agencies with additional funds to assist law enforcement agencies in various investigations of cases involving violent offenders and offenses with firearms. The funds provided to the Wichita Police Department will not only aid in the Wichita area of crimes involving firearms, but also throughout southwestern Kansas. The partnership of Garden City Police Department and the Wichita Police Department have been made both through the PSN grant and working relationships of Chief Gordon Ramsey and Garden City Police Chief Michael Oots and their respective agencies. There is a commitment to the use of these resources to combat crimes involving firearms. So with that, I will open it up to questions that any of the media has for our agencies here today.
I have a question for District Attorney Bennett.
Okay.
I'm going to be talking to you from behind my iPad here, sorry. You raised the issue there that that kind of this begins at home with keeping your firearms from getting stolen. Now, one of the things that I've been told is that a lot of these firearms are getting stolen because people can't take them into work. They leave them in their car. What would you suggest for securing a firearm in a vehicle?
Well, that creates an issue, obviously. So, you know, let's put it this way: I'm not going to. It puts me in a difficult position because it presupposes that I want to tell gun owners how they should secure their weapons in some specific way, and I recognize that creates a difficulty. However, if you are going to take a gun with you, and feel that you need to travel with one to and from work, to and from businesses that may not allow a gun into either your employment or to some other kind of a business that you're going to frequent, and you have to leave your gun in some fashion. I'll just state the obvious, which is understand that creates a risk of it being stolen. Now, if you're going to do that and feel that you need to, I understand that. But there are certain things that can be done. And I would suggest that a responsible gun owner look into various options. Among them would be purchasing a safe that can be affixed to the floor of the trunk of the car. That comes with an expense. I'm not minimizing that. But if you're going to leave a loaded 9mm handgun in your car, and all someone would have to do is break out a window and grab it, don't be surprised if that happens. And so there are any number of things that one could do, and putting it in a trunk, putting it in a secure safe or something like that within a trunk. I know that I was just at a gun shop the other day, and know that they have that sort of several of them sell these safes that can be bolted to the floor of a trunk, bolted to the wall of your home, etc. That makes it difficult for somebody to gain access to it. Obviously, also looking around the environment you're in. Parking near a light source. If you're going to be parking at night, don't park further out away from. Park closer to the business. And then the last question is ask yourself whether it's worth the risk to leave an unattended gun in your car if you're going to be away from it for an extended period of time. There's no easy answer to this, but the notion that we can just understand that there's a risk that we just have to accept by leaving guns in cars unattended, I think that the numbers show that that's not working for us. Several hundred guns being stolen, and a great number of them being utilized later in violent crime is just unacceptable. So there's any number of options. I'm not going to tell people they have to do one or the other, but I think they do need to think about it before they just habitually leave a gun unattended in a car because the place they're going into won't let them have it. So I've not talked around that, try to give you a specific answer, but that's probably as good as I can give you.
Any other questions this morning or this afternoon?
Are there any partnerships with gun ranges or dealers or anything that might be able to help people provide casings?
Well, through this project, what we're hoping to do is we're developing a flyer. We're also being able to hopefully go to gun ranges, some of the gun shows and stuff where we can give information out, possibly an envelope so that you can just scribe on it and put the casings in to keep separate from your firearms. We're able to hand those out maybe at public places, also some of the gun shows and gun ranges. So we're hoping to partnership, and we're sending information out on that.
So I heard that this is a first of its kind program a little bit earlier. How many people would you say that you need to participate to make this successful and to make a dent in violent crime and stolen guns being used in violent crime?
Well, to me, to make it successful, I wish that all the citizens who own firearms in Wichita would participate. Just having those two spent casings separate from a firearm will give us the opportunity to be able to get that firearm back to the proper owner, and if it's used in violent crimes, being able to show where it started.
We saw the number of 358. How many overall have been stolen this year now again, guns from vehicles?
From vehicles itself, I don't have that number right in front of me, but I know that with the video, it showed over 300 some odd, several hundred.
Have we seen this number go up a lot since the open carry law went into effect?
I can't say that that is exactly the reason why it went up, but we have seen an increase.
Is there something, so homeowners just share, save these 2 shell casings, do they notify you guys that they're doing that, or is it just if something happens to it?
No, there's no notification to the Wichita Police Department unless their weapon has been stolen. If the firearm is stolen, then that's when we're able to collect that and then been able to send it in so that we'll have an ID as far as a homeowner.
Do you know of any other cities that are planning to do something like this, or this kind of test city number 1?
This is the pilot. Hopefully it becomes a success that we want it to be, and then that way it will branch out.
Thanks, Cal. Any other questions this afternoon?
I had one more question for Steve McAllister.
Okay, Mr. McCallum.
Okay, you mentioned that this might be a way for a person who has had their gun stolen to get it back. Can you expand on that scenario just a little bit for me? How long
So-
would it be in the custody of the courts and those kinds of things?
Right, so typically in a federal prosecution involving guns that are seized, whether it's guns used in furtherance of drug crimes or it's a felon in possession of firearm, a prohibited person, we will seize and forfeit the guns. If we don't know the provenance of the guns or they've been acquired in some sense through a sale or whatever by the criminal defendant, they'll be destroyed after being forfeited. So my point was that if the gun owners will help us identify their weapons, not only does it have investigative value, but at the end of the prosecution, at some point, those weapons could actually be returned to the rightful owner. In terms of how long it would take, it would depend on a lot of factors, but you could get it back. Whereas if we can't tell where the gun comes from, it will almost certainly be destroyed at the conclusion of the case.
So to clarify, would the gun be destroyed if somebody stole it from a car and then sold it to somebody who used it in a crime?
Probably, yes.
Even if you could identify the original owner?
Well, if you can go back to the original owner, the lawful owner, it could be returned to that person. But as far as the one who stole it and sold it, neither of those people would get to keep the gun.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate everybody coming and listening to Operation Saveacasing. There will be additional information, again, at wichita.gov/saveacasing. I know our website was down about 30 minutes or hour ago. I will make sure it's back up, but you'll be able to go to wichita.gov/saveacasing, and there will be a frequently asked questions section there. You can send us questions if you have particular questions or comments that you'd like to make to us about the project. You'll be able to do so through that website as well. So I appreciate everybody coming and listening to Operation Saveacasing, and thank you to all our partners for being here today.